it's a positive film. It has heroes and villains, and that it essentially is a fun movie to watch. It's been a long time since people have been able to go to the movies and see a sort of straightforward, wholesome, fun adventure.
Well, it's a fantasy. It's not science fiction so much as it is space fantasy. And it's about people. It's finally about people and not finally about science.
The story, when you actually put it into words, is only so much nonsense to hang a great visual experience onto. It's the stuff that fairy tales are made of.
Sort of boiling down religion into a very basic concept. The fact that there is some deity or some power or some force that sort of controls our destiny works for good and also works for evil.
Marvelous, healthy innocence. Great pace, wonderful to look at, full of guts, nothing unpleasant. I mean, people go bang bang and people fall over and are dead, but, no horrors. A sort of wonderful freshness about it, kind of like a wonderful fresh air.
It's got whatever you want it to be. It's pure entertainment. It's like a roller coaster ride, and it can be interpreted as long as you enjoy it, which is the intention.
Welcome to Generation Skywalker. This is Dan, and in this episode I'm going to be sitting down to chat with Johnny Goose, a name many of you will be familiar with if you're on Facebook and in UK Star Wars vintage collecting groups, or indeed on the We Are Generation Skywalker Facebook group. Johnny has been collecting on and off since the mid-90s and has amassed an amazing collection, including 5 separate vintage figure focuses, the centrepiece of which being his Vader focus. Johnny talks us through his collecting journey from a young boy in Liverpool through to today, and how in recent years he went from collecting in isolation to first discovering the Facebook collecting communities and becoming an active member of it. He's a loyal listener of Generation Skywalker and also a regular seller at Echo Base, where he's well known for his swag at the event. So let's head over to the interview to hear Johnny discuss all of that and more. I'll be back at the end. Hope you enjoy it.
Move the ship out of the asteroid field so that we can send a clear transmission.
Yes, ma'am.
How you doing, Johnny?
I'm very well, mate. How are you?
I'm very good, mate. Before we get into your collecting and how you grew up Star Wars, Goose, mate, what's the story with the name? Because I've been dying to ask you. I know it's not yet. I know it's an alias, but what's going on there?
Okay, so this is because of a different collecting focus that I've had for quite a long time. I've been in the old school BMX, vintage BMX world for coming up on 20 years now, since about 2007, 2008. And my focus, if you like, in that world is vintage Mongoose BMXs. Because when I was a kid, I had a Mongoose. I got into that scene, and it was all forum based. The old forum's still there, but hardly anybody goes on it. Rad BMX. And then it sort of moved over, as all the forums did, in various interests, over to the Facebook world. I was very reluctant to move over to Facebook, and my nickname in that world was Johnny Goose because I collected Mongoose. And
so it's not just a Star Wars alter ego then, it's
no.
For a while.
So yes, and that's quite obviously a funny thing, because then I was so reluctant to join it. Well, just join us, Johnny Goose, I was like, oh. So eventually I did, and then I had a look around, wasn't very impressed, and then just sort of ditched Facebook and never went back to it. And then, as we'll get onto later in the conversation with the Star Wars side of things, when I eventually accepted Facebook as a place to be, the name was already there, and obviously it stuck.
Just resurrected the account.
Yeah, I am.
So can you reveal your real name then?
Yeah, John.
Keeping it as that.
But to be fair, my missus calls me Johnny. My brother-in-law may he rest in peace. My late brother-in-law, he called me Johnny Goodtime.
Okay, fair enough. Right, go down that road.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, spending too much money, probably, that's why. Yeah, so it's kind of a name I have anyway, and so it's kind of natural. Yeah.
So when did you join Facebook then, like proper, when you started joining all the groups? Because it's been relatively recently, right?
Yeah, so the groups wasn't until 2022, I think.
Yeah, oh, wow, okay.
For 4 years. Yeah, so not new to Star Wars and collecting, but yeah, fairly new to the groups.
We had a catch up the other night and you said you've been collecting since like the late 90s.
Yeah, 96. Yeah. Do you want to start there?
Let's go back a bit further first. When was you first exposed to Star Wars?
I was born in 1975, turned 50 this year. Not very impressed with being, last year rather. Keep forgetting it's a new year. Not very impressed with being 50, I'll be honest. Yeah, so I'm always amazed when people sort of recollect the first seeing Star Wars in the cinema and how vivid their memories are. Because I definitely didn't watch Star Wars when I was 2, and I definitely didn't watch Empire when I was 5. So I was first introduced to Star Wars in 1982. I saw the double bill in the Odeon.
Nice.
And then after that, Empire was just sort of a bit of an enigma because, I mean, it just didn't exist. Empire today, Star Wars, I think, was shown on the TV later that year, 82. Yeah, so I had a VHS recording of that, which got hammered. And then obviously Jedi came out the next year, which I saw in the cinema. And then there was a hooky tape, wasn't there? Don't you remember?
What, Jedi? Yeah.
And I was having my mum and my dad got a copy of that from someone in work, and then that got hammered. So I always had, sort of through those years, had Star Wars and Return of the Jedi on VHS, but never Empire. And it wasn't until, I think it was televised. Was it Christmas Day? I think it was Christmas Day, wasn't it? Late 80s. Late 80s.
Yeah, it was, I think we were talking about this the other week on the show, or the other month. We're going to lose track of time. But yeah, I'm sure it was 88 it first showed. It was quite late on.
Yeah, that feels about right, yeah. Yeah, and then that was like sort of finally the TV recorded VHS set was complete.
I remember myself seeing Empire, and I had seen it when I was much younger, but being at a friend's house and he had a copy, and it would have been mid to late 80s, and just thinking it was like watching it was to me a brand new Star Wars film, and having seen Jedi and Star Wars so many times and seeing how it all slid together, it was an absolute revelation.
Absolutely. As I say, Empire was just always sort of this, it was an enigma. Having seen it at such a young age 7, it was a blur, and then just having the 2 films, they felt incomplete.
Yeah. But you say you saw it in the Odeon. Was that the Odeon in London? You came down and watched that? Because I'm guessing you grew up in Liverpool, right?
I did grow up in Liverpool, yeah. Yeah. So it was my nan took me to see it.
Okay. I mean, that double bill poster as well. Have you got a copy of that?
No, I've got the triple bill.
You've got to get that double bill, mate. Surely that's quite a relatively easy one to get.
I know. They're often trimmed, though, aren't they? I get picky sometimes, It's funny. I'm more of a completist than a perfectionist when it comes to general things in Star Wars. But with posters, I don't know. I think they need to look apart, don't they? It's really frustrating that I've got posters, but I just haven't, because my Star Wars room is the attic, so putting them on a sloped ceiling, it just, I don't know, it just doesn't feel right.
So how much of the toy range did you have as a kid?
As we sort of get to the 96 part of the story, when I start collecting, I've got my original Star Wars toys and a couple of my cousins. So I had the Falcon, I had the X-Wing, I had the AT-ST, a bunch of mini rigs, speeder bike, and then my cousin, he had the AT-AT, he had the Vader TIE Fighter, snow speeder, and then a bunch of other mini rigs. So we'd always go and play at my nan's, and sort of we didn't overlap much, which was great. And then we just have these sort of epic battles, that went on for hours. We'd spend like an hour just setting it up, Obviously, there'd be figure overlaps and stuff, but with the vehicles, we were quite lucky. So I looked after my figures and all of my toys quite well. I listened to my mum, look after your toys, put them away when you finish playing with them. Whereas my cousin didn't, he buried his toys in a garden type, that kind of thing. And his snow speeder, I should have shown you a picture of it. It is, I've got his original snow speeder, and it's absolutely trashed. It's got nothing. It's got literally nothing. There's every single thing is missing from it. And not just is the canopy missing, but the bit where the canopy couples up to that part of the main body has been ripped off.
Jeez.
so I've got it. It's actually my Power of the Force 2 AT-AT, but I've got it under the foot of the AT-AT. Like it's been getting out of. It's mangled. So I never owned the AT-AT. So I was listening, obviously, to your recent episode about the AT-AT. It was only 2 or 3 Echo Lives ago I finally got a boxed one. But yeah.
Nice. And do you remember getting the toys like for Christmases and stuff? And was there like a standout particular Christmas where you just got everything or felt like you got everything?
Back to back Christmases, 82, 83, really. I was a sort of Star Wars and then Action Force and Star Wars sort of overlap as well. And then, 84 as well. I suppose 84 collecting was probably more me buying figures.
Yeah.
Pocket money going to like BT's in Liverpool and then Toy and Hobby in St. Helens. I used to love. They used to have a yellowy orange bag with like a red logo on it, like sort of like in blocks, 2 kids playing. I used to love going into Toy and Hobby. They'd have all the box toys would be all together, and then all of the carded figures would be hanging there. So, and I must have been collecting right up till the last 17, last 15 really, but style, because I've got my original Amanaman, which obviously would have come with the Tri logo. So that would have been 85, wouldn't it?
Yeah, you went all the way through then. That was going to be one of my next questions, but. First question is, we obviously mentioned Eddie AT-AT, but were there any other particular pieces that you wanted to get as a kid but you didn't get?
The Slave one, because I didn't have that, it wasn't bought for me as a present or anything. And then I only got the Slave one round about, let's say, 88, maybe 89. And it was the lad who lived next door to me was 2 years older than me. And he'd obviously just sort of, he was chasing girls rather than toys. And he just said, "Oh, do you want this?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he gave me his Slave one. So that's how I had that, and I've still got that. And it was battered, stickers missing, and then just over time picked up the pieces to get it complete again. Still hasn't got its stickers, but but that's how I ended up with that.
So you obviously went right up to the end of the range.
Yeah, that was the only last 17 I had though.
Right, okay.
Why, as a kid, I picked that figure, we'll never know. I just looked at it like, wow. Probably
what drew you off?
Figure in the bubble it must have been, because he's just a huge figure in the bubble.
Value for money. See, Scouse is always looking for value for money, isn't it? I'll just go with the biggest one. What drew you off Star Wars then? Was you into was it bikes or other toy lines or computers?
No, I mean, I suppose, just naturally sort of, you get into different things as you grow up as a kid, don't you, as you get older. And then, computer games and things, they were obviously a key thing. I mean, we went out and played as well, didn't we, when we were younger? So it wasn't just about playing with toys in the house, was it? As I say, bikes. I remember then getting a mountain bike in 1990. That was a big thing, getting a mountain bike. And then once it got to 91, obviously I was 16 then, and back then you could go out and have a drink when you were 16, couldn't you? God help these kids now.
Well, they don't even drink when they can when they're old enough.
Well, that's true, yeah.
When did you rediscover Star Wars? When was that like, or did it just never go away? Was it always there? And
yeah, I mean, it never really went away, I suppose, in some respects. I mean, I'll always remember that for whatever reason, I had like a pin board in my room, and I always had my Jawa pinned to the pin board throughout my entire life growing up. So I started working when I was 18, and I met my wife. We were childhood sweetheart. So we'd been together for 3 years. Come 1996, we decided we wanted to get a little place and to sort of jump on the property ladder and get a mortgage. Obviously, very young to do that at age 21. So we saved for about 18 months, and we moved into a little 3-bedroom detached ex-Corpy house. And my mum said, well, you can come and get all your stuff out of the attic. And, I knew it was there, but I didn't realise how much was there. I kind of knew, I had some of my childhood toys up there. And I went up and, it was just... I wish you could bottle that feeling, just opening the boxes and just seeing all your childhood toys again. And there was a lot there. There was Action Force, all my Star Wars. There was some diecast stuff like some Batmobile and things like that, Space 1999 Eagle and other bits, and some Action Man as well. And it just taking that back to my own house and just sorting through it was just, it was amazing. But the thing that really struck the chord the most was the Star Wars. And it was it was a perfect time to sort of get back into it, 96, because obviously the special editions, whether you like them or hate them, at the time it was still...
At the time they were superb, weren't they?
The hype around it, going and see Star Wars on the cinema again. And obviously, again, Power of the Force 2, which I know a lot of people don't like, but... it was an amazing time to collect for me, because I could collect both vintage and the modern line. And, you know, I get it. You know, the first sort of few waves of figures, the muscle-bound kind of caricatures weren't exactly appealing, should we say. But as that line moved on, you know, there was a lot of really good figures towards the end of that line. You know, figures that hadn't been released before, and, you know, when the sculpts just got better and better. And I really enjoyed collecting that line, and I've still got all my Power of the Force 2 stuff today.
So around that time as well, were you reading the books or the novels or anything like that, or playing the video games, or was it purely the toys?
Not the novels, no. Predominantly the toys. I mean, games, yeah. I've always sort of, you know, dipped into various, you know, Star Wars games. I remember completing episode 1 on the PlayStation. And having to go back a few levels to get a rocket launcher to just you know, beat Darth Maul up a little bit, just so I could finish him off. You know? But you know, predominantly the toys, and I mean, it was quite a lonely thing, you know, I suppose. It was a me thing. It wasn't, you know, there was obviously the social element to it now, which we'll get onto later, and going to Echo and everything is, I mean, it's the social element of Echo more than the actual collecting for me now. But, you know, it was literally just me and my collecting. And when I sort of that period of time from 96 through to about 2003, I go into Liverpool. There was a place called Mersey Collectibles. He'd sell all sorts of stuff like wrestling stuff and all that kind of stuff, which I wasn't interested in. But he had a section right by the till. We'd have boxes of loose figures, and they'd have a glass cabinet. It was one of those, you know, with the rotating thing. Yeah. And then you'd have like all the good stuff would be in there, you know. And that was a journey, you know. It was a voyage of sort of discovery, and, you know, learning about figures that I didn't even know existed, you know, back then. I'll be honest with you, some of the last 17 I wasn't aware of at all. So and then that would be the vintage side of it. And I go to the odd, you know, like car boot sales and things and try and pick up little bits there. But that was sort of my main source. And I got really like friendly with the guy, and he'd keep things back for me in there. There was also then, you had Worlds Apart and Forbidden Planet in Liverpool as well. So then I'd go off there and you know, get the modern side of things. So it was a nice little sort of trifecta of going to those 3 stores every time I went into Liverpool. But the guy in Mersey Collectibles with the vintage stuff, I always remember the time I went in and he said, "I've got something for you." And, you know, when you look in his eyes, like, he's got something proper there, isn't he? And it was a blue snag. And it was the first time I'd ever even seen a blue snag, you know.
Yeah.
You know, in person. And he put my hand and he said it was that a £75 or £80? And at the time it may as well have been £800. I can't spend £80 on a piece of plastic. and then obviously did, you know. Yeah. And it was like, you know, I remember driving home and I was thinking, oh, I can't believe I've just done that. but I did, and he's still standing on the shelf behind me. Yeah,
nice. I mean, look, we're skirting around the kind of the prequel era, I think, as we get further into the 90s. Did that have much of an impact?
Yeah, I was hook, line, and sinker at that point. So then straight into 99, episode 1, obviously the hype and the build up. I mean, I was just literally buying everything, not just the figures, just all kinds of you know. But you know, I loved it, and it so much so that, you know, I was fully sucked in, and I booked a holiday for me and my missus to go and watch Star Wars on opening weekend at the Ziegfeld Theatre in New York.
Wow.
I mean, it wasn't just for that, but, you know, I was kind of angling. Oh, yeah, holiday. You know, and it was a great holiday in New York, but I just happened to be on opening weekend. And that was a great experience, you know, from a Star Wars point of view, because obviously, I mean, I'd never watched a film like that in the States. At first time I'd been in the States, and to watch a film the way they watch it compared to when you watch a film, it's lightsabers flashing and people cheering and shouting. I mean, they were cheering when Darth Maul got chopped in half at the end, and I was crying. I was like, man, he's the best guy in the film. Why are you cheering? He's not going to come back.
we're up to the prequels. You're already seeing your man in Liverpool. He's sorting you out with your vintage, and you've got your toys from your childhood. But how did it evolve from there?
Yeah, funny. I was just looking at that the other day. My eBay account started in 2003, so I was a fairly early adopter to eBay. Yeah, and that enabled me to sort of fill in a few blanks from Power of the Force to collecting, some of the harder to find inboxed figures. Because the way I collected Power of the Force 2, people, a lot of people sort of thought they were going to have the same value in the future, didn't they? But I didn't collect it that way at all. It was great just sort of buying them, ripping them off the bubble. It was very much a open them loose collection. Yeah. And then the beauty of that was obviously then I was hunting down the boxed in figures as well. And so it was quite a tricky thing to fully complete, but I did. And yeah, having eBay and obviously international sales, that really sort of broadened the horizon for completing that collection. And then it just got to the point where, they had the episode 1 stuff, and then the Power of the Force 2 stuff had moved into Power of the Jedi, I think it became. Wasn't it?
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
And then you kind of had a mix of figures, and then the Attack of the Clones stuff started coming out, and it just started feeling like it was just too much to just keep up with, the full modern run. Yeah. And I just sort of started to back off a little bit from the figure collecting. Sort of coinciding with that is the company that I work for at the time. I got an opportunity to go and do a long-term project out in the States. Discussed it with my wife. My daughter was before school age at the time. She was only 3. And we said, let's just go for it then. We sold our house and we went out to the States, and we were up there for 2.5 years. That was right when 99, 2000. So Revenge of the Sith came out in
2005.
Yeah, so we were out there when that went out. So we went out in 2004 and we came back in 2006. That was good, sort of being out there for all of that and sort of seeing the build up, on the US side, and then that sort of made me sort of start collecting figures while I was out there, but just on the modern side. And yeah, so I started, picking up some of the Revenge of the Sith figures, and yeah, I mean, I've pretty much moved most of those on now. I've kept the Vaders, obviously.
In terms of your vintage collecting, did you manage to get much of that while you was out there?
I completed the loose run, back in the UK. I mean, so that started in 96. I probably completed the loose run around. It probably took about, to be fair, probably about 2 or 3 years. Or yeah, it was probably done by about 2001-ish with the loose run. So no, and I'd sort of picked up a few vehicles and that I hadn't had, but I was never really into the mocks and the boxed vehicles. I've always collected card backs. I've got stupid amounts of card backs. The great thing with card backs is you can just go into you can just start a new run. I'm now going to collect 65D Emperor offers. That's it. Yeah, and it's and I mean, collecting's about the hunt, isn't it? And the card back collecting sort of keeps giving on that front. There's plenty to hunt for. So I mean, I had a couple of mocks. The first one, again, same guy. He'd get a couple of mocks in every now and again. And the first one I ever got was a bib on a tri logo. Yeah, a couple of Vaders back then, but never really serious on the mocks. At that point.
And how you mentioned at the start you were kind of collecting in isolation, and I suppose by the mid-2000s, is that still the case?
Yeah, so obviously living out in the States, I couldn't really truly collect out there. I pick up a few figures from the modern side of things with the Revenge of the Sith, but obviously the thing there was you've got to get this back. Now, my parents used to fly out every now and again to come and see us. And then every time they come out, I'd say, bring an empty case. It's just so they could take some back. But, you have to sort of be realistic about what you could sort of, amass out there. So when we come back, I think we'd watched too many episodes of Grand Designs. We decided to buy a project house, and that literally just sapped everything, money, time, all focus. But the idea was to eventually, with this house, develop the attic space, and that would be my man cave, if you like, which I would eventually be able to get everything that I've collected out in my life and display. That didn't really happen until finally got the attic sorted about 2018. And that's when everything finally came out. And then obviously just seeing everything again, the bug set in, shall we say.
It's the worst thing, mate. Once it's out in front of you, looking at it every day, you think, oh, I could fill that gap with this, or I could get rid of this and get that. And yeah. So look, you've sent me a huge amount of photographs, and I've been looking over them, and you've got some amazing stuff. But look, we need to start, I think, with your Vader focus, because that's pretty cool, I think, place to start. But yeah, surprised it's not your only focus, but we'll get onto that. So in terms of your Vader focus, just tell everyone how extensive that is today. I mean, I tried counting the mint on cards up, and I lost count, I think, at about 50. So give us the lowdown on what you've got for Vader.
Yeah, I think it's around 70. He's he's a challenge, isn't he?
He's not a cheap figure focus, that's for sure.
No, I mean, and as I said before, I'm a completist, not a perfectionist. I don't buy like super pristine graded mocks. It's not my thing at all. I often look, you look at someone's collection, and it's like really, really neat. Everything's presented really, really nicely, and I've just got a few key pieces, and you think, why can't I be like that? But I am a bit of a hoarder. So because of that, it can make it a little bit more affordable, because you're not looking for these pristine and the things which will sell for crazy money. And I kind of have like a mental cap about any single piece in my collection that I wouldn't want to go over, if that makes any sense. There's a couple of graded Vaders in the run, but I haven't bought those because they were graded. I've bought them because it was a piece that I needed to tick, in the run. And I'm always looking for that graded piece that nobody wants. When it's graded at like a 60. Yeah. Because the graded collectors don't want it because it's a low grade, and the non-graded collectors don't want it because it's graded.
It's graded, yeah. And you get it for a good price.
Yeah, so that's usually like the type of thing if it's a graded piece for me.
Yeah, and in terms of the rare, I mean, some of the card backs you've got there. I mean, I saw you've got the square card in there. That's obviously a particularly rare one. The Toll Toys one, that's in there. The Meccano 12 back. There's some real corkers in there, though.
Yeah, so you've just got to be realistic, don't you? As I say, because I'm a completist, sometimes you're not going to get a mock because you're talking ridiculous money. Now, obviously, there's certain pieces in there that are mock that I'm really proud to own, like the white back Takara, which I got off Uncle Bobby, Rob Liparelli, about 3 years ago. And that's a lovely piece. It's slight little crack in the stem on the bottom, and I got it at a price that I was happy to pay for it. And that's a lovely piece to have in a collection. The Toll Toys, that's just a card back that I got from O'Brien with a decoupled but sealed bubble, Palatoy bubble. It presents nicely, you know what I mean?
Yes.
It displays nicely. But to go and get a nice condition, I mean, try and find a Toll Toys mock in the first place. And then when you do, it's going to be crazy money.
And do you upgrade much if you do, like you say there, if you've got one that has got a slight defect and you see one that's better?
I do, yeah. So and that's when, if you do see a Vader on my table at Echo, that's that'll be something that I've upgraded. And sometimes it is, you get like a cracked bubble or a bit of a wonky card or something, and then something nice turns up. If it's the right price, definitely always looking to upgrade.
And I saw you've got a lot of figure variants as well. So I saw a model Trem in there and some other variants. Any particular?
Yeah, that picture that was literally just the bootleg gang.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, I like the bootlegs are fun. I mean, they could get crazy expensive. That Trem is quite nice, but he's a bit battered. So again, it wasn't crazy money. And then just the Polish bootlegs, and I'd love a Hungarian one. There was a guy, I don't know if you saw recently, posted up a full Hungarian collection.
No, I didn't see that, no.
Yeah, it looked awesome. He had two Vaders in there, two different Vader variants, closed hand and open hand. But
nice.
Pricey stuff.
Nice. And what was that one that's like, it's almost like a prototype, it's just all white. What's that all about?
Yeah, that was a recent pickup. That was one of those moments.
And what is that?
It's a test shot, sign-off test shot for the retro collection Vader.
Nice.
Yeah, it's nice. It's a nice little piece. I don't really collect modern, but because it is literally, continuation of that figure. So obviously I've got a carded retro collection, a loose retro collection, and then it was nice to get that as a test shot. And it wasn't crazy money, but
And baggies, lots of baggies, also lots of Vader baggies as well.
I do like my baggies. I do like my baggies.
So you going for a run of loose baggy figures, or?
No, So I'm trying to do every figure that appeared in a baggie as a run, but also trying to have as much variation in the different baggie types in that run. So kind of like trying to tick both boxes, like every baggie type and each figure.
What, you're trying to get every baggie type of every figure, or just a variant of every baggie within the collection?
Just one of each figure.
Jesus Christ, that'd be some collection.
No, just one of each figure.
Yeah,
and then but try and cover as wide a spectrum of the different baggie types that are out there.
And how far into that are you?
Pretty far along now, to be honest. I think I'm up to about 65 or 70. That neck of the woods. Yeah. It's a fun one now.
But once you've got a loose run in the bag,
yeah,
you do look for these other opportunities to collect. And I have been picking up quite a few baggies lately, but more so for the mailaways.
So my loose run, I would say over 50% of that in my childhood figures. So it's not a precious loose run.
Yeah, fair enough.
Because obviously they're played with figures, so it wouldn't make sense to then have these pristine other figures, sort of filling in the blanks. So I've never really been precious about that loose run. Obviously, want them complete, but not really bothered about the condition of them. So the baggies sort of enables me to do another run, if you like. And
what about Beyond the Toys? That's pretty thorough as well. You've got a hell of a lot of Beyond the Toy stuff for him.
Yeah, as Ben Potter once said to me, I said to him, I don't know, I think he posted something. I was like, why don't you give us a shout on that? That's a nice Vader piece. And he went, I don't know, everything. and it's true, he is. He just pops up on the strangest of things. But so I mean, there's some interesting bits there. Did you see the shoes?
Didn't clock the shoes.
There's a Canadian Clark's pair and a US Clark's pair. The Canadians, they're mint. Got the original bag and everything, original packaging and the tags and everything on them. And the other ones, which that's a nice box, that's got Vader on the box as well. I've got the shoes, and that's just got Vader's face sort of stitched in. It's like a little silhouette. And got the shoes off Ben, and then got the box somewhere else from the States, I think. And then Ben had a bag, so I got the bag of him, sort of piece that together. And then they're quite cool.
I've got them.
And then the bags, the Clark's bags with Vader on them. Yeah, they're nice, those.
So it is pretty extensive.
The Beyond the Toy stuff, it's I mean, all sorts of things, even just, not talking about Vader, just like that we talked about patches the other day, you were showing your patch collection. It's, you've got some tricky ones in there.
No, you can't buy them off me. That Empire 10th anniversary one, that is I've only ever seen that come up once, and that's the one that's in my collection.
Yeah, that's a beauty. That's a beauty.
Some of the bootleg stuff as well you've got in there, just in terms of like some of you've got the money box in there, and then there's some strange looking Vader behind him. I think that's a lampshade, is it?
Yeah, the one on the one next to that is on the right is they were a make a home kit in the States. So, and you see them in all different weird colours. I've tried to add to that collection, and they are really, really I think it's because you cast it yourself in a mould and then baked it in the oven. It's really, really brittle. So They just do not travel well. And I've had 2 smashed, so I've just stopped trying to buy them now. I've got one that has survived and the other 2. And they were, so you could get them. So that's just, they've obviously taken the standard mold, but there was also instructions in there of how to turn it into a lamp, I think.
Right, okay, yeah, because I think I've seen those as a lamp before. Yeah. That's why I said, is it a lamp? And what about the one on the other side, the kind of the full size Vader almost? He's massive.
Yeah, he's massive. That, believe it or not, is a teapot.
A teapot? Wow.
You pull his head out, and then you just about see on the left hand side of him, or his right, our left, there's a little hole in his elbow.
Right. Yes. That's mad, isn't it? I take it that's an unlicensed piece?
No, it is licensed.
Oh, it is. Who made that? Then? Yeah. Who made that? That's a very
good question. Darth Vader, Invincibles TT England, number 14 of a limited run of 100.
Oh wow. And is that from back in the day then? That's vintage, is it? Or is that more modern?
No, I think it might be late 90s, early 2000s.
Right, okay. It's pretty cool though. I mean, there's so much stuff there. We could sit here and go through each piece and talk all night. But have you got any particular favourites that jump out in that lot? What's kind of the one your eye travels to the most?
Yeah, I mean, the most sort of hard to find piece. I don't like to use the word rare because it's used too often and it's never true, is it? Prototypes maybe, but anything that was sold, you can't really class it as rare. But hard to find, shall we say, is the I don't know if you saw it. It was the Canadian utility belt.
Yeah.
So it's not complete, but that's a particularly hard piece to find.
Yeah.
I actually got that off Ben Potter. We negotiated over that for quite a long time, but we finally came to an agreement. But that's a particularly tricky piece, one that I didn't think I'd end up having.
Let's find some good stuff, don't he? So
every time you post things up, you feel like posting that, the Joker from Batman. Where does he find those wonderful toys?
Is there any particular other mint on cards or card backs or other Beyond the Toys items you're particularly looking for at the minute?
I mean, the search always goes on, doesn't it? It's pretty much impossible to complete a full Vader mock run. I mean, there's untapped things like the different figures that may turn up, with a clipper wrap around them. Things like that. It's hard to truly pin down exactly what's actually out there for some of the stuff. But I kind of have a running list. I know there's a few holes there to fill, so there's always another one to find. Yeah, and then just I quite like the advertising stuff and, display header cards and things. I've been trying to add to that sort of collection. They're tricky pieces to find and can be quite expensive. But yeah, I'm quite happy with the ones I've managed to collect there.
And tell us about your movie accurate life-size Vader.
Yeah, so I bought an incomplete 501st project, and it was pretty far on with it, to be honest. And I just had to do sort of the chest box detail and the belt boxes. So I've got all the bits for that now. I just need to put it together, and I've got to paint the chest box. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. It's an ESB Vader. And
have you put it on?
I haven't, but I'm going to. I've just once, you just got to, haven't you? I mean, I'm too short really to be. I'm only 5'9", so. But it's got like platform boots with it. So.
Yeah. What are you going to do? Put it on like a mannequin or something? Can have it in your room or?
Yeah, I'm going to put it on a mannequin. So that'd be good. But I'd like to. I need to sort out the electronics and the wiring because I would like it to sort
breathe
of
in. Yeah,
and maybe like have a PIR or something in the room. So like sort of as someone comes up the stairs. So
nice.
Yes,
you should become the running Vader. You should go running in it. That could be a thing, couldn't it? Yeah. I'd love you around Liverpool doing that, wouldn't they?
Well, I mean, I'm definitely going to put it on once, just to have a photograph taken in it, just to see what it feels like.
Excellent,
big thing.
And I should have probably asked this question at the start, but why Vader? What drew you to Vader?
He's just Star Wars, isn't he? Vader is Star Wars. Star Wars is Vader. It's the two go hand in hand. That first time when you saw him walking onto the Tantive. And he's just looking around at all the dead bodies and just strolls on. Doesn't even have to speak. It's just you could show an image of Darth Vader to people who've never even seen Star Wars and they know it's Darth Vader.
When did all that start with the focus? When did that really kick in? And
it was always Vader, Fett, and Stormtrooper. I just think those three, they just go together so well. Just displayed side by side, just images of them, from the films. Vader with Fett, Vader with Stormtrooper. They just, it's iconic Star Wars, isn't it? And so it's always been those. And then the other sort of side focus, I've always loved the Jawa figure. I don't know why. There's just something about him and his little cloth cape. I just always loved him as a kid. And that's sort of, it's not a focus. It's if I see, a bit of a mangled mock or a cracked bubble or a lifted bubble, and if for cheap enough, I'll just add to that run very casually. The Emperor side focus, that was, I think that's complete. If you look at the mocks there, I believe that, please, if someone out there is an Emperor Focus collector, let me know what I'm missing. But I think that's complete. The 3 tri-logos, one in the middle with the Fabrique in Macau and the UFO hole, and then the bubble variants on the others, Power of the Force. And then you've got the Clipper, Leddy, Canadian, and then 77A and B, 79A and B. I believe that's complete.
I want to skirt over these a little bit, but it was quite an extensive run of Boba Fett's. By no means complete, but still an impressive run of Fett cards.
Yeah, Fett's, he's expensive, isn't he? Fett tax. So that's 50-50, that run. Half a mock and half like a lifted bubble or a resale. Yeah, there's some nice ones in there. That Canadian, I love that one. I got that off Gary Bond. It's just because it's the only one. It's the only figure that appeared on that actual card type with that yellow triangle offer in the corner, and I just think it's awesome. I love anything that's sort of unique for a particular figure. So that's a mock. That's a nice one there. Yeah, there's a couple of Empire ones there. 3 of those, I think, are mock. Yeah, Jedi. The Palatoy Jedi, that's a Tony. I got that for like nothing, honestly. It was on eBay, and the way he listed it was just, he was like trashing it in his own listing. He's like we're going to really good job of just like don't buy this. So it's a Tony, but it's popped, because they were crap seals, weren't they? Rubbing them on with an iron, I think, and it is an iron one because you can see the V in between the twin stems. So it's one of his earlier ones, and it's popped off on the left side. But you stick the figure in and then just slide it up the rail of the acrylic, and it just holds it back down again. So.
Yeah, and then the Stormtrooper as well. You've got to run a Stormtroopers. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, they look nice to get a Stormtroopers, don't they? There's just something about them. I think it's because there's 2 of them on the image, and then him in the bubble. It's just, and then you put a few of them together. It's just like a crowd of Stormtroopers.
I do like in your loose run as well that one of your Stormtroopers is laying down at Vader's feet. I think that's is that on purpose, or is one just falling over?
No, that wasn't intentional, but I might just leave them there now.
Say that it is. Say that it is. So in all of those figure focuses, John, how many of those are Palatoy cards? Have you got many gaps in those runs?
Yeah, I mean, obviously with Fett and Stormy and the Jawa, they're not as key to me focus collecting as the Vaders. So there's a sprinkling of Palatoy amongst that. The Vader Palatoy collection is, it's pretty much complete, to be honest. There's a Return of the Jedi 45 CG. It's the little HD text variation in the bottom. Still looking for. And then the ESB 41B I've got is just a card back with a bubble. But other than that, it's pretty complete. Got a 12 ABC run there. The C's a really nice mock. That's it's a tricky one to find again, the C, and it's one of those where it doesn't necessarily command a premium because not many people are really looking for it. But that, just that the die-cast, non-die-cast text on the back, which is the only real change from the B, and that's a tricky one. And then I kind of split it off into a bit of a sub-focus of 65Ds. Which I'm sure if you're aware with the 65Ds, all the different bubble variations, and in sort of dipping into that, I ended up finding that there was one missing from Jason's Matrix, which was the 65D that's more like the Kenner style bubble, because that's actually been manufactured in Hong Kong. So it's a HG text, again, similar to the 45, just in the bottom corner. I remember bringing it up to Jason at Echo Live 2-3 years ago now, and we had a good conversation about it, and he looked at it and he gave me a shout out on their podcast for finding that one. So that was a little nice little claim to fame in the Vader world.
Nice. So has that made it through onto like all the Palatoy guides from Echo and stuff like that? Is it?
Yes, I'm not sure if obviously, because it's hard with a written guide, isn't it? Whether that obviously has been passed through to the next time that gets printed, but it's certainly up there on the website now in the Matrix. And
that's pretty cool, isn't it, mate? Nice claim to fame.
Yeah, because it's a funny thing. The 65D, you've got like a waffle bubble, a no waffle bubble, which are the tall ones. Then you've got a shorter sort of Palatoy style bubble. Then you can get it with a tri-logo bubble. And then, as I say, the Kenner style bubble is the Hong Kong, the Asia made one.
Just out of my own curiosity, because obviously I've been collecting Vaders for a while, and one that I had years ago and then passed on, and then obviously when you start figure focusing, you're like, I wish I kept hold of that. But the 45C, just with the 9 number offer on, that is that particularly rare to get or find in nice condition? Because I saw one pop up the other week, but before then it had been a while since
it's a funny you say that. I mean, I would say it's certainly trickier than the 65s. You don't see them pop up anywhere near as often. But and it's a funny thing. I don't think to just, the average collector who's maybe just looking to get a Vader on a Palatoy Return of the Jedi card back, that it really commands much more of a premium.
No.
Being a bit harder to find. It's just, that's a Palatoy Jedi Vader. I'm after that, and it sells for a similar kind of price. But you're right, it is a trickier one to find. In the Palatoy run, I've got the sort of, it's not really a jewel in the crown, but a really tricky thing to find, even though it's a mock, but it's a beaten mock. I've got a Kenner 48C with the Palatoy offer sticker on the back.
Nice.
So that's a nice little addition to the Palatoy run. And then obviously you go into the tri-logos, the different bubble types and that.
And you mentioned that you kind of got some here and there, but in your Stormtrooper run, there's some nice Palatoy cards in there when I was looking.
I've got, I think there's an A and a B. And then, there's an ESB. Again, that's just a card back with bubble. As I say, with the Stormtroopers, I'm less sort of hell-bent on ticking all the boxes of that.
Well, I will ask you this: in terms of your mint on card run, obviously you've sent photos. Hopefully, we can share a few of those on our group so people can see what we're talking about. But have you got? Is that the extent of your mint on card run? Do you just collect those 4 or 5 characters, or have you got a? Do you do a run of mint on card, or is that just not something you're interested in doing?
No, I've got a full run. It's as I say, that they're not precious. It's a similar kind of thing. You know, I'm not going to go out and spend a fortune on a mint. You know, first 12, and I'm not precious about them being first, but being 12 backs in that first.
Right, okay,
that makes sense. You know,
so you got a kind of mixed bag of whatever you could get your hands on at the right price at the right time.
Yeah, it's you know, Star Wars releases on Star Wars cards, Empire releases on Empire cards, and you know, Jedi on Jedi.
Okay, right, yeah.
So, but not release cards. It's not the
first
12 will be 20 backs
version.
or
With you. Yeah.
And I quite like that because in the ESB run, I mean, I know a lot of people they want to go for like an ESB offerless run, but I quite like seeing the mix. You know, so I do things like especially if it's cheap. You know, do you go on Fourth Moon toys?
Yes, yeah.
So I picked up a couple of different Canadian offers just in my ESB run. Just
to have them in the collection.
Yeah. It's just a nice way of adding something different, especially if it's like, well, Vader never came on this card. So this is one I'm not going to own in that run. So let's add a different offer to the collection.
Yeah, it is nice getting a mix like that. I mean, I've kind of refined a bit from where I was collecting. I did have that more of a mix, and with foreign card backs, I have kind of made it a little bit more uniform. But yeah, it's certainly nice having a Meccano in there, a Canadian in there, a Leddy in there, just to mix it up a bit. It's definitely gives it some flavour.
I mean, the for the last 17, last 15, I like the power of the Force. I mean, a lot of people prefer tri logos, but so the vast majority, the obvious ones, are Yak Face and Anakin. They're tri logos, but the rest are power of the Force. I like them with a coin. I'd love a revenge proof Vader. I mean, I think that's the least expensive one, isn't it? The revenge proof, but it's just crazy money, isn't it?
I think I'd have to settle with something that wasn't a main character. I think I'd have to.
Yeah.
I quite like that the AT-AT Commander with just with the AT-ATs on it. It's such a bright, vibrant card. I think that one would look great on a shelf definitely in a nice acrylic case. But the bit that always throws me with them is the 9 offer. I'm not a big fan of that. You know, especially because at one point I was doing an AT-AT driver run and I was offered the revenge proof. I think at the time it's like 500 quid. Weren't a lot. And I was like, yeah, he's covering off his face up. I don't want it. I've got it now, but you live and learn.
You're getting into some expensive stuff there, aren't you? Especially with Vader. It's unfortunately no. I've took off my poor man's proof cards. Have you seen those in the pictures?
Yes, I did see that. Yeah,
they
look good. They look good. I did have to look at it. Is that a proof card or is it a cut bubble?
Well, the clipper. The clipper, it must have been heat affected. It's literally the entire bubble has just cleanly fallen off the card.
Yeah, I don't think they were that well applied because I don't know if you saw it, but I sold Jez a Meccano AT-AT Conductor card back at the last Echo, and it's the same thing. It just fallen off. The bubble must have literally fallen off the card. It doesn't look like there's ever had a bubble attached to it.
Looking at it front on, you don't even see it. You kind of have to. So if you tilt it to an angle in the light, you can just see the impression of where the bubble was. Yeah, it's amazing. Oh.
We've also got to focus on paperwork as well, have you? His catalogues and things like that.
Yeah, I mean, sort of paperwork in general and catalogues. I absolutely love the figure catalogues and all the different ones. I mean, there's a really good article on the SWCA about the different catalogues, sort of categorised them into, rareness or difficulty in finding them. I discovered that a good few years ago, and I'd already sort of had a fairly decent obsession with the catalogues before getting into that, and then that just sort of added fuel to the fire. And I just love collecting the catalogues from different parts of the world. The Lily Leddy, the Miro Meccano, there's so many different catalogues out there, and the Power of the Force ones, the one with the shuttle on the front. I absolutely love that catalogue. There's a whole run of those to collect in different languages. I've got 3. I think it's Swedish, Norwegian, and Italian, I think I've got. But yeah, there's a run of those, and I love those. And obviously the Palatoy catalogue, the Death Star on. That's a nice little tick in a box in that run of catalogues that I've got.
Yeah, do you have them displayed? Are they just in a box somewhere, or
they are just? Or? Yeah, unfortunately, they're just in a box. I do feel like I should be. focusing on trying to get some of this stuff displayed. It's hard. I'm sort of limited with the space I've got.
And the Palatoy, you've got some of, I saw you had some of the Palatoy trade catalogues.
Yes, so I've got a couple of Palatoy trade catalogues. I've got some Kenner catalogues as well. Recently picked up a couple of Palatoy price lists, which were nice to go along with those. Yeah. So any sort of, paperwork and promotional stuff as well, promotional stuff for the film. I like collect the programs. I've got a nice ESB premiere program, and I like press release stuff, press kit, that kind of thing. Yeah, I love all that kind of stuff.
And then in terms of more kind of 2D stuff, you're into your Topps trading cards as well.
Yeah, I mean, that's I like the Topps range of things to collect. There's obviously trying to keep it to the Vader focus, but sort of those two overlapping. I've got a full run of each of the card sets from Star Wars, ESB, and Return of the Jedi, and the sticker sets.
Nice.
But then obviously the Vader box art, I think that looks awesome. And then the 3 different colours.
Yeah.
And then I managed to get beginning of last year, the sugar-free box, which I got from Mike Freeman, Fourth Moon. And that's quite a tricky piece to find. And then I've got a shipper box as well, which has got a nice Vader on the front. That was a nice little piece to add as well. So yeah, I like to add to that Topps collection.
What's that? What, a shipper box for the Topps cards?
For the photo cards, yeah. Just a big brown box with Vader's face on it. But, it's a nice thing to be able to store all the other Topps items in.
Yeah, the sugar-free stuff, that's a bit of a mystery to me.
It was a complete mystery to me. It was only just something I discovered, through sort of researching the Topps line and on the SWCA. And it was like, wow, what is that? And Vader's face on the front again. I thought, I've got to get one of those. And it was hilarious when it actually turned up. And to see that it was so much smaller than the normal Topps trading card boxes, because it is just the gum. It's not a trading card in there.
Yeah,
it's gum, and I think there may be a sticker inside. But I've got one of each of the characters. There was 4 characters appearing in the box on the gum. I've got that box when I bought it off Mike. Actually came with one of each of those, so that was quite nice.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, I take it you got your candy head somewhere along the line as well.
I've got the ESB, but I need the Return of the Jedi. There's 2. I'm not too interested in the yellow one because Vader's not on it.
Was he on? I think it was he on the Return of the Jedi one as well? Was he?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Was he? Is it the same mold, or they do a different one for that?
No, I think they are 2 different molds.
Okay.
The actual dispenser. Yeah.
You learn something new every day.
Thinking about learning something new every day. The old pen toppers, or pencil toppers rather. So I've got a box full of those. I've got the pencil topper display box, but when you open it, it's just full of Vaders.
Nice.
Yeah. But there is another variant of that, because everyone says there's just the 2. There's like the tall where he's stacked up the ESB and the Return of the Jedi. But so I think this is a little discovery exclusive. There's a white molded painted one.
Wow.
And I've picked up a couple of them now, because I didn't know whether this was just a one-off oddity, but now I've spotted just looking on eBay and found another one, so I've added to that collection. So I've got 2 of them now, and I don't know whether it was just maybe they just ran out of the black plastic and just did a run in whatever they had, and they're black painted, so you can see it flaking off, and the actual plastic used is all white. And the figure's been painted, the pencil top has been painted black.
Nice. I'll you have to sling us, get all 3 of them lined up and send us a photo.
Yes, I will do that.
That sounds well, lovely. That's cool. I do like that. I mean, the money box that was based on that mold as well is pretty cool. It's one of my favourite pieces.
Yeah, it is. It's a very cool piece, though, isn't it? I'd like to get one of the fairground mirrors as well. There's obviously various different types of those, but I've seen one with a Vader on it, which looks really cool. But they just, as soon as they pop up, they sell, don't they? One other Beyond the Toys thing that I really like in my collection is the Starfire Star badge, with the LED light up eyes. I've got a sealed on the card, one of those, which is a nice little piece. And nice little bit of UK Star Wars history. And then on the UK side of things, the Beyond the Toys, I do quite like the Burton's biscuit wrappers. Got 2 different variations of that. With the artwork as opposed to the photo artwork with Vader, the tree ball wrappers and the lines made wrappers.
We need to get them to remake those biscuits, don't we? Because they were. I used to love those. We got Helix Reborn. We need to get Burton's Biscuits Reborn.
That was the thing, wasn't it? Yeah.
So moving away from collection then, just on to you mentioned Facebook at the very start, and I see you getting tagged in absolutely loads of stuff. So you've obviously got a good group of people around you, but you've been collecting a long time. How did you collect pre-Facebook? I mean, obviously we've spoken up to the mid-2000s, but were you still collecting in isolation, pre-2022?
Obviously going to the States, that sort of kind of put things on hold. And then when I come back, I sort of, the Star Wars side of things, I then got into the BMX world, and that became a whole world of collecting and restoring. And yo-yos, did you see the yo-yos?
Yes, I did. There's so much to go through, John.
I mean, I
won't even talk about. I was going to ask you about your other toy lines, but I think that might be for another rabbit hole as well, because I've seen all that stuff too.
Well, I mean, if you want a sad story, a sad story. Well, it's not a sad story. It's a nice story, but I'm sad about it. Is my Action Force. So I had all my Action Force toys from when I was a kid. And my wife's nephew, we used to babysit for him, childmind for him, and he was about 7 or 8 at the time, and he'd come round to our house, and I just let him play with all the action. Didn't let him play with the Star Wars, obviously, but I just let him play with all the Action Force stuff, and he really, really enjoyed it. So I just gave him it all.
Oh, that's nice, eh?
Yeah, exactly. And then in later years, obviously, I was like, I wish I still had my Action Force stuff. And I've got like, there was some figures that must have been in another box. So I've got about 4 or 5 figures, and I've got my original sort of membership, like Palatoy and like letters and stuff.
Nice.
Yeah, so they're quite nice pieces, but not the toys themselves, unfortunately. And I went back and I said because he's a grown man now, obviously, and I was like,
so got my Action Force.
Did you ever keep them Action Force figures? Your mum didn't put them in the attic by any chance? And he was like, nah, they're well gone. So unfortunately, I kind of like, it's too painful for me to do a loose run, if that makes sense, in Action Force. So I just every now and again I'll pick up like a battered mock or something. It was cheap enough on eBay. But the yo-yo thing, I literally couldn't tell you where that came. Well, I know where it came from, because you remember in the 80s, Coca-Cola cans.
Yeah, I remember I remember those yo-yos as well.
And I can't remember the gold one. Was it the actual ring pull was gold? You got the gold one.
I can't remember. I remember having them in, like, I would have been in like what we called middle school, so like late primary school, having those yo-yos. So probably very late 80s they were bringing them out, weren't they? So
so it started with that, and I mean, there's only I think 5 in the run for that. And then it just, I realised that there was Australian ones, and I just,
Oh, well, you could think of worse things to collect. Going back to the question, though,
I'm good at not answering the question.
No, but like pre Facebook, were you on SWF UK or anything like that? Were you on the forums? Where were you hanging out?
Yeah, so I missed out on the UK Star Wars forum because I think that came out around about 2005, which would have been, I just missed that. I was on Rebel Scum, because that was one of the early ones. But just more like, as I say, because I was sort of, collected in isolation, it was more for gaining information. Great thing with forums, you didn't even have to log in, did you? But I had an old login on Rebel Scum. But no, so I'm on Star Wars Forum UK now. So, but no, I missed the boat on that one. So no, I was still collecting in isolation. Didn't realise there was a whole social scene to this thing that I've been doing for so many years on my own. And then, it was, so eBay, back on eBay again once, as I say, 2018, collection come back out. Ooh, need this, I need that. We use that word, don't we? Need. So I was all over eBay again. I can't, the 2 things sort of happened all together. Me jumping onto the groups, but also listening to the podcasts. That all sort of happened at the same time. So I can't remember whether it was listening to a podcast and hearing sort of, Echo Live getting mentioned. I'm like, what's this Echo Live? And then doing a search, and then that got me through then to Facebook, which then obviously realised that there's a whole world out there. I think I've done 7 Echo Lives now. Yeah, I haven't missed one since the first one I went to. Just on that very first Echo Live, I met friends who are literally friends for life now. It's amazing. That's
cool. So the guys that you hang out with there and you like do the stands with, are they friends you've met through Echo then, or are they?
Yeah. Okay. So I mean, Ross and Mart, who I do the table with, they are like me busy mates at Echo, and nice. we have a little WhatsApp group, and we keep in touch with each other, and it's great. And then a big fan of the podcast, Rob Allen, who I talk to all the time. He travels around the country with his job, so I often meet up with him and we have a pint and chat Star Wars.
Jez and Stu and Petey, all of us, we've all met through this hobby, and it's great being of an age that we are now. That, I mean, I've been friends with them 10 years now, but it's not often in life that you make friends like that. Certainly after school, I found that my best mates were my best mates at school, and now I've got my Star Wars mates, so there isn't a lot that sits in between that. It's great for that, if nothing else. It's a fantastic social scene,
especially for me, because I've been waiting for years to talk to someone about that.
Now you're on a podcast.
Yeah, 30 years I've talked to myself about it and everyone thinking I was a weird. I was like, there's other people out there.
Yeah, it is a revelation, isn't it? It's a big revelation when you find that. I mean, you mentioned there about Echoes. Is that the only place you sell, or do you get stuck in at all on eBay? I don't really see you selling on Facebook.
I mean, I'll very rarely have a bit of a purge or something. So Facebook, I don't really sell on Facebook. I might stick some stuff up on eBay, but it tends to not necessarily be Star Wars. It'll be more like sort of, if I'm getting rid of some of the BMX stuff
and yo-yos.
Oh, we don't sell those. We add to that.
Very good.
Yeah. So it's and really, the table thing at Echo, it's an opportunity. I don't have to pack things up. I mean, I absolutely despise selling things and I'm having to pack them because I hate it when I get something myself and it's not been packed properly. So I spend.
You've got to do a good job of it, haven't you?
Packing things. And
I know what you mean.
I've sold this thing for hardly anything. I may as well have just gone to work for a few hours. What was the point? I've spent so much time packing it.
Yeah.
So the beauty of Echo is obviously things that I've upgraded in the collection, or things that I've got doubles of or whatever. I can take down there, chuck them on a table, and and catch up with people. And it's great having a table because you're roaming around. People are coming around and standing at the table and you have a good conversation. Catch up with people. It's
good. Echo, you've always got your table. You've also got a nice selection of swag as well. So what are some of the highlights of what you've produced over the last few years?
Yeah, I mean, the swag thing, it was obviously going on at Echo, and I just thought, okay, this is a thing people do. So the very first thing I did is I just made a badge, just to be the easiest thing. A lot of people were doing badges. And then for celebration, I did a badge and a magnet. And then I thought, I need to get a bit more imaginative here, seeing like some of the things that people would, because some of the swag that comes out is
it's outrageous now, isn't it?
The design work that goes into it in advance, and then the actual, physical sort of, making these things, because a lot of it's very hands-on. These people are like making these things themselves. So I just thought, right, I need to sort of lock in. So everything's always been Vader themed. And I started, it was like a food thing. So I thought, I'm going to make like a soy sauce. So it's a soy sauce bottle. So that was like the Vader Sith sauce. And then I did Mustafari and lava flakes, which are like chili flakes.
Got that one.
Yeah.
I got that one.
And then I thought, well, sod it, let's just do booze. So the first one was Estrella Darth, which was the beer. And then we had the tequila shots, which, the pink shots, the famous Echo pink shots.
Yeah.
The most recent one was the Chateau Neuf du Palp.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Yeah, with a nice picture of Vader's castle on it. Very good.
Yeah. Did you get onto that, did you? Well,
I haven't opened it. I don't like it. I'm a collector, mate. I don't open those things up. It's sat on my shelf next to my little vial of Tatooine sand.
Nice. So you're missing the Sith sauce. I'll have to bring you a bottle of Sith.
Yeah, I haven't got that one. I've got the flakes, so that's around here somewhere, actually. Yeah, I've got so much stuff all around, but yeah, no, they are fantastic, mate. You do a good job with them. It's always when you put them up on Facebook, everyone gets a bit excited. Do you have a queue waiting sometimes for people to get hold of it? Or?
I mean, to be fair, it's growing. Don't get me wrong, it's growing. I mean, obviously, the likes of Michael Peter, they're like sort of really driven the swag and sort of showed what can be done. Chris Brayshaw, obviously, done a lot of stuff with Michael Peter. Done a lot of stuff. And Ian Ferris, have you seen his the cups? He does the Leia themed cups.
Yes,
Bespin Sky Bar. But now it's really growing. So I was going to say it's usually the same people, so you sort of know who you're sort of trading with, swapping with in advance. But now it's growing like at an exponential level. So what I try to do is, and sometimes it's, there's a lot of kids get involved in it, so I can't exactly give them a bottle of wine or a beer. So I'll try and do a mix of things, so like badges, stickers, and some other things that you can hand out and swap with those. But it's every time it just amazes me. It gets bigger and bigger every time.
So what have you got planned for this next one?
I can't tell you.
Oh, I thought we get a sneaky peek. Is that because you don't know yet, or what?
I do. It's all planned. It's just yet another thing that will require time and effort.
Oh, you're not going to give me a Generation Skywalker exclusive?
The exclusive is
it's going to be the day before.
It'll probably be ready the day before. No
Yeah.
And,
okay, fair enough.
And it will be in the same sort of theme as the last few.
Okay, fair enough. More booze then.
Possibly. I could possibly say.
So aside from the vintage then, I mean, you've spoken quite a bit about modern things that you were picking up back in the day, but do you go after any of that today? Any Lego or Hasbro or, dare I say it, Hot Toys?
No, I have one Hot Toys.
What Vader have you got?
I've got well, you knew it was an Vader. Got the ESB, the
one with the
platform with
best one, easily.
It's nice, isn't it?
It's quality.
It's a lovely piece, that. But did you put all the batteries in it?
Yes.
Oh my God! I was expecting you just stuck a couple of double A's up his backside.
No, you have to fiddle around with these little dots and push them in the. They go in the belt and in the. There's the second arm, isn't there, with the light up saber, and it's pretty cool. And in the stand itself, there all the lights. Flashing that as well.
I mean, it's awesome, the effect, but I couldn't believe it. I was thinking of hacking it though, just sort of so you could just be wired up and plug them into a USB.
So on the Luke Besbin, the base for that has got USB on it, so you could rig it up to the lights in the room, so the base all lights up with that orange glow from the Cloud City control room. But I think if they'd redo that Vader today, they'd probably get some USB action going with that as well. But I'm sure there's a customizer out there. If you join enough Facebook groups, you'll find who can do it for you.
I haven't got the time for that.
So, on with the modern Star Wars, and just in terms of TV and film, what are your thoughts on that? Are you a fan of what Disney are putting out, or are you another naysayer?
No, I wouldn't describe myself as a naysayer. No. I've consumed all of the stuff that they've put out. Some of it I love, some of it I don't. The sequel films, if you want to start with those, I was disappointed. The Force Awakens, it sort of led into feeling that there was going to be. That final scene with Luke, you're thinking, what's going to happen next? And then what happened next? It wasn't very good at all, was it? Unfortunately. So it's a shame that wasn't better, because we'd been teased by the fact that Rogue One was so good. If you're being honest about these things, though, they were originally designed to be kids' films, weren't they? So and as the saying goes, every generation has their Star Wars, and it's true. My eldest is 25. And she loves the OT, but she also loves the prequels. And we'll often say give us your top 10 in order, and just to sort of debate the Star Wars films and how you order them. Now, for me personally, it's Star Wars, then it's ESB. She always says ESB, so which is great. Come up for exactly. But then her second is Revenge of the Sith, so that's sort of showing a younger generation sort of appreciating those films, and that's great. The sequels will be someone's favourites, because that they're the films that they went to the cinema and watched, and it'll mean something to them. So Solo was a shame, but I think it came out too soon. I think it probably would have translated better as a TV show. I think they tried to do too much in the space of a film, and it could have sort of, those stories, and they could have been spaced out over a series. And the annoying thing about Solo is that at the time, people were like, it was okay, but I think if it had come out now, people would think it was great. But then Andor was just absolutely awesome, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was something to really, especially this second season where it was released in chunks. You could really get your teeth into it.
And
it was good.
It's one of those where you say to yourself, well, if you had to, suffer some of the things that you didn't think were too good to get that, then I'd happily take that.
Yeah, absolutely. Have you got much? What about Mandalorian? You got much excitement for the Mandalorian in Grogu?
Yeah, I mean, I keep away from trailers. I don't watch trailers at all. I think I overhyped myself in 1999 watching a trailer. I remember the first one that came out. Do you remember you had to download QuickTime Player?
QuickTime, mate.
To watch it. So I just stopped then. It hyped me up too much watching the trailers in 99 and going and seeing the film. So I just stopped, and I haven't watched a trailer since, believe it or not. And it's because my eldest and my missus and the youngest, they just sort of take the pay out of me, because if we're watching a film and the trailers come on, I go out.
What, in a cinema? Or just
If it's like the trailer for Dune's coming on, or if it was a new Star Wars film's coming on, right? That's me.
Just
like shaking their heads at me.
So, all right, let me ask the question a different way then. So, based on your like or dislike of the last 3 seasons of Mando, are you excited for the film?
Yes, I hope it feels like a film, if that makes sense. That's my only concern. Obviously, it's hard when you're used. If you do it the other way around, if it's a film becomes a TV show, I think that's an easier transition. But when you go in from characters that we're used to seeing in a TV format, and then that's now being presented as a film, I just hope it doesn't feel like a season 4.
Because it's an odd one. It is an odd one, because you say there about you don't the marketing for the film. There hasn't been a lot of marketing. There's a 90-second 2-minute trailer.
Yeah.
Nothing else. There isn't a
True.
lot being said about it, so it'd be interesting to see.
But no, I'll be there, definitely. Opening weekend.
No. What about Celebration? Did you ever been to a Celebration?
Yeah, we did the last London Celebration. Me missus and me youngest, they came just on the last day, but me and my daughter, we enjoyed it. We got some good panels as well. We got the villains panel. Ian McDiarmid was great on that. And then we got the Obi-Wan panel. We got the ballot for that, so that was lucky.
Any plans to get out to LA next year for the 50th anniversary?
Well, it's funny. We were actually supposed to go to LA this year. I keep saying this year. We're in 2026 now, aren't we? Last year, I had a disaster with my back, and I got rushed into hospital. That's to have an emergency operation, and that stopped there. and that was it was all booked. I was doing tickets to Rancho Obi-Wan, and we were going to go and do some the real world sets to go and see the Dune Sea and everything, all that. And then obviously that just all had to be cancelled, which was very disappointing. So now that that's happened, and now that they've announced that it's in LA. Well, obviously they announced it's LA. But the tickets, when will they go on sale? They'll be soon.
It's got to be soon. It'll be soon.
So yeah, possibly. I mean, it'll take some convincing with my missus, but
your family sound quite supportive. It sounds like your daughter's into it quite a bit, and your wife lets you have a whole attic full of stuff. It sounds like
I mean, it's
on board to a certain extent.
Definitely, yeah. I think the rule's pretty much, if it comes up here and stays up here, that's fine. She doesn't have to look at it, That's the main rule. Yeah, I mean, obviously, my wife likes the films. We're the same age, and she watched them back when she was a kid and everything. So she enjoys the films, and she'll watch them with us. And then both my girls enjoy the films. The youngest got a little bit of a Star Wars Funko collection, and the eldest has got a small Black Series collection. So yeah, there's Star Wars love in the house.
I look forward to seeing you at Echo, John, but I've got to find what's going to be the one item, if you could walk in there and they had it, whether it was a Vader item or something else, what would be the bit that would bowl you over, and what are you walking out of Echo with in a few weeks' time?
I'll have a DT Vader mock, please.
Yeah, is that the pieces that you'd want to add?
Yeah, I mean that's not going to happen. But I've got a DT, a wonky saber DT loose now with no.
That's no mean feat, mate, is it?
No, it's it was one of those things. You've just got to be realistic, haven't you? And you've got to be honest with yourself. And there's just no way in the world I'd pay that kind of money. I wouldn't enjoy it, if that makes any sense. Having that sat on and that one thing being having so much value in it, I would feel uncomfortable and I wouldn't enjoy it. So now a little chewed up wonky innerless DT Vader will do.
It's funny that we've had that conversation recently with Martin about the Power of the Force at driver, and these things, it sounds like great, it's owning them, but the risk that's associated with breaking is just unfathomable. It's always there. You don't like to collect these things as an investment, but you do look at the value of it and how much you spent on it, and it could so very easily all go horribly wrong.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Well, it's been absolutely brilliant talking to you, John. We've known each other now for 2 or 3 years since we met at an Echo a few years ago.
Yeah.
I've been dying to get you on, and it's been great. It's been a great insight into your collection, and this is amazing. And I will definitely cherry pick some of those photos and add them up on the We Are Generation Skywalker group. So anyone listening, head over there and you can see all the great things we're talking about. Look forward to seeing you at Echo.
You certainly will, mate. Thank you very much for having me on. I've really enjoyed it.
Cheers, John.
So I'm back to close out the show. I hope you enjoyed the interview. Thanks again to Johnny for sitting with me. It's always great to hear from other collectors like that. Hopefully we can do more of the same in the future. But in the meantime, if you're looking for more Generation Skywalker, we have a back catalogue now of over 160 episodes, including vintage collecting with those old fossils, plus 5 episodes of our Guide to Palatoy. We've got modern collecting with the modern way, as well as the many interviews we've done over the years. We've got movie commentaries, our Look At series where we discuss Disney Plus shows, and much more. If you've enjoyed this show or any of our episodes, why not thank us with a 5-star review on your podcast listening platform? It really does help support the show and help others find us. And don't forget to follow us so you don't miss another episode. You can also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok and Threads for the latest Generation Skywalker show announcements. If you want to interact with hosts of Generation Skywalker and other listeners, why not join the We Are Generation Skywalker Facebook page, which is also where I will be sharing photos of John's collection. But until next time, we are Generation Skywalker, all errors, all passions, all Star Wars.